Welcome back to Crit and Crit. I'm Axion,
I'm Scint.
and we are continuing our playthrough of Final Fantasy IX and our discussion of The Tragedy of King Lear by William Shakespeare.
And Garnet's lucky that she doesn't have any siblings to worry about, like, inheritance stuff. On the other hand, she's got other things to worry about with regard to family.
I was about to say, Garnet has enough problems. We don't need to add new ones.
But we're going to, because we're in the first chapter of a Final Fantasy game.
I was about to say,
her life's going to get so much worse.
To be fair, you can say that about everybody in the party, because that's how Final Fantasy games work.
I mean, isn't the subtitle of this one basically dealing with depression?
It might as well be. He looks so proud of himself.
Yeah, just not a moment in this game goes by where Vivi does not need a hug.
But yeah, getting back to poor Garnet and her particular complications. How do I get down there? Oh, it goes around. Garnet's actually in a rather... I say this with love, and I say this with very literal meaning, unrealistic scenario. This is a fantasy game, a fantasy story set in a fake world. She is in a monarchical kingdom where there doesn't appear to be a king. The ruler is her mother, Queen Braun, and there does not appear to be any sign of... seriously? I was trying to have her heal. But yeah. Her situation is very abnormal compared to the real world. There are almost zero monarchical rulerships in modern history that are matrilineal. And it's only fairly recently, historically speaking, that female monarchs have been able to inherit of their own volition.
Which has caused many issues in history. Oh god. But with regards to the Kingdom of Alexandria, it is mentioned that the king passed away not that long ago, and that's when Kuja started getting sway over Braun.
Yep, but as we can see with much of Alexandria, it's fairly matriarchal to some degree anyway. The female-led Knights of Alexandria, Beatrix's Corps, are considered superior to the Knights of Pluto, the masculine military force led by Steiner.
So, while this could be a grand gender analysis, we could also just look at Beatrix and Steiner and just point and look at the audience and be like, the training is probably a factor.
Oh, definitely.
Because, like, let's be honest. Like, don't get me wrong. Steiner is great. I love Steiner. Beatrix, hands down,
is the superior military combatant and commander, yes. But that's not the point I was getting to, is... Well, basically, I was just observing that it's a very different circumstance than one would encounter in most places in the real world. So to kind of get to where I was going with this with regards to King Lear, we have a monarchical system with a retiring masculine patriarch monarch.
I'm not sure, actually, because I'm back on the Final Fantasy wiki. All it says is that, sorry, I lost the page. Too many tabs. Though she ends up causing much death and destruction, Garnet testifies she had once been a kind and well-liked monarch, and not the power-hungry villain that she became after her husband passed away and the mysterious Kuja started to show his face within Alexandria Castle. It doesn't say consort, so that kind of implies that she was the actual ruler.
Yeah.
So I don't think we can say that, like, it's the case of the king retiring, and then she steps up.
Yeah.
I think it's like she was already the queen.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, is Alexandria seems to be more matriarchal overall, just from what little we know about it. But anyway, we're getting back off topic to the example that I was starting with, rather than the actual subject of on King Lear that I was intending to pursue. How do I get down there?
Carefully.
Like that, apparently. Ooh, sweet. Can I... Oh, he's already got that. So yeah, we have a retiring patriarch, King Lear, who does not have a son to take up his mantle. And his solution for this seems to be to divide his kingdom between his 3 daughters and their respective husbands. Or, in the case of Cordelia, husband-to-be. Before, the one Duke who we never see again. Which one is that? Do you remember?
Burgundy, I think. Because Albany is with Goneril, Cornwall's with Reagan. I think Burgundy is the one who's like, hey, interested, no dowry, nope, bye.
Yeah. We don't see anything of him again after he turns Cordelia down after her disownment. So we can do really little more than guess, but the idea seemed to be implying that the intent seemed to be, rather, that Lear was going to be handing his kingdom over to his daughters and their husbands, but obviously there were a few complications. You know, I shouldn't be surprised that Vivi is this overpowered in the Ice Cave dungeon.
He likes warm hugs.
Very warm.
Yep. But yeah, splitting the kingdom up does not turn out to be the best idea. And this actually has some historical precedent.
Okay, would you like to elaborate?
Charlemagne.
Okay, I don't know a lot about Charlemagne. Would you care to elaborate?
Alright, the short version is the Holy Roman Empire was divided in 3, and basically where the third one split right down the middle is kind of where you can see the boundaries from major battles from most European wars of the past millennia. because it was just, okay, I don't care if you have like cultural or language groups or anything like that. We're just drawing lines on a map. And that has historically never gone well in the history of ever. See also dividing up of Africa, the dividing up of the Middle East. So yeah, whenever you have to have a shakeup in geopolitical boundaries on an arbitrary scale from somebody who's only tangentially connected to the place, it doesn't go so good.
Yep.
And yeah, but Charlemagne dividing the empire among 3 sons, yeah. But yeah, it goes even worse in King Lear, not due to like geopolitical factors, but just due to the fact that, well, we can see how it plays out on a very personal level, just related to a couple of families involved.
I missed my chance to save.
So yeah, under the system of patriarchal primogeniture, the oldest son would inherit everything. This is actually why you had so many second sons like entering the clergy, and actually where we get the term nepotism from, because they could. It's suspicious how many of these acolytes and priests would end up with favored nephews who looked just like them. Wink, wink. But yeah, they're not going to inherit, so where are they going to go? Might as well go take holy orders, and just things to that effect. Or you actually have to go get a job or something. And
one thing I've learned fairly recently, and I credit the Behind the Bastards podcast for this, because it was a big deal both in their episodes about Christopher Columbus, but also their episodes about Robert E. Lee, is that a big part of the colonization efforts was by second, third, and fourth sons who had no prospects of inheritance, and thus staked their fortunes on claiming something in one of the colony areas.
Yep. So, this would have also gone badly, like, no matter how it went down, because under patriarchal primogeniture, it all would have gone to basically, like, his oldest male relative who was able to. If he had none, in this case, it would have gone to the Duke of Albany, therefore all to Goneril, and we kind of saw how well that went with Goneril.
Yep.
Granted, though, if Albany had been able to overrule her, which he legally would have been able to do at the time as her husband, it probably would have worked out pretty okay. Because Albany, as we have seen, was the good option.
I was about to say kind of decent. Not a terrible person. Well, I mean, he could be much better. I'm going to waste a trance turn on healing. Oh well.
Oh well.
I was hoping it would get in before I got hit again.
Yeah. But yeah, it probably would have worked out a little bit better if things had all gone to Albany, who, is willing to stand up to Goneril, even if she's still going to find a way around that. But it would have had more consistency, there would have been more unified leadership, and, well, everything else. But in terms of, like, just giving it to the oldest kid, if we ignore the whole male relative thing, which we're going to have to talk about again later, because we are going to have to do Pride and Prejudice at some point, I demand it, because that's actually the driving plot force behind Pride and Prejudice, is that Mr. Bennet has no sons, and the house they have is part of the inheritance. So if one of the girls doesn't get married, they have nowhere to go. Yeah, patriarchy and primogeniture are stupid. But primogeniture also would have been a bad idea alone in this context of King Lear, because it would have gone to Goneril.
Yep.
Who is the worst of the daughters.
Yep.
Cordelia, as the third and youngest, would get absolutely nothing. Like, if Goneril had an unfortunate accident, it would still go to Regan, who's almost as bad as her older sister.
Well, that makes up for the 2 fights that Zidane was dead for.
But then we look over at the Ed, and Eddie crew. Good luck ever seeing that for them.
Oh dear.
But yeah, Edgar would have been a perfectly fine choice. Edmund, if he hadn't been so hell-bent on revenge, might have figured some things out and been able to listen to advisors and stuff. But this is a case where, like, Edgar also would have been, trained basically from birth to be a proper heir. Because, okay, cool, we've got a boy. Under the laws of inheritance, he's going to be set to take everything. Let's make sure he knows how to manage an estate. Except for the fact that, Gloucester is gullible enough to believe everything Edmund says without noticing that he kind of does like the little raccoon schemy hands when he's not looking.
I mean, it's either that or the literal Snidely Whiplash mustache twirling.
Hey Google, can you please draw a raccoon with a Snidely Whiplash mustache? But, yeah. Honestly, I could see this play as being, in and of itself, just a simple critique of the idea of inheritance laws of the time. Because look at how much disaster arose from the fact that, in the absence of a male heir, Lear turned to arbitrary and downright stupid methods for dividing up his kingdom. And, yeah.
Look, I just wanted to save.
You have anything else to add?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
Then we will see everybody next time. Bye!
See ya!